and welcome to Eagles Perch. I'm really glad that you could make it on Eagles Perch. At Eagles Perch, we soar above the ordinary to bring you the most enchanting stories and inspiring conversations. From the lens of diversity, adventure, lifestyle, and inclusion. My name is Oluwakemi Odusanya, but on this perch, I am known as Queen of the Eagles. At this juncture, we will be leaving the room open to our sign language interpreter who will be joining us, and also a special guest on today's wonderful episode. But while we are still trying to get our sign language interpreter on board with us, I will be telling you some wonderful information. Okay? So Hello, Mr. Observer, can you hear me? I need you to speak so I'll be sure that you can hear me. Okay, so we're still trying to get him on board to join us, and also our guest as well. So let me tell you something that we have for today's episode, because it's very, very important that you get to know, right? And you might be wondering, what is Eagles Perch, in case you're just joining us? It is where we have conversations. We have a lot of diversity, a lot of people, talking about things. Toluzi Deaf Dancer, welcome. Toluzi has joined us, and I'm saying a very big thank you to you for joining us. So we're waiting for the sign language interpreter to join us on today's show. So for Toluzi, I will be doing a little bit of sign so that he can be okay. Welcome. Welcome. Can you hear me, Observer?
Yeah, Kelly. Hi.
Beautiful. Hi. How are you
guys,
doing
welcome
today?
to Eagles Perch.
Awesome.
And I'll be your sign language interpreter for today.
Thank you for joining. Okay, that is Mr. Observer, who is our sign language interpreter. So while we are waiting for Sims_Deaf Consult to join us, we would kickstart the show, and our technical guy would let us know when we have the sign language interpreter on board. So with no further, can you hear me,
when we have
Mr. Observer?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, so I said that while we are waiting for our guest to join us, our technical guy who is behind the screen would add and also send an invite to the guest to join. But we are kicking starts the program right away. Are you set, Observer?
Yes, please. Ready.
All right. So, hello once again and welcome to Eagles Perch. At Eagles Perch, we soar above the ordinary to bring you the most enchanting stories and inspiring conversations from the height of diversity, adventure, innovation, and lifestyle. So, thank you to Toluzi Deaf Dancer for joining. Thank you to Toby Loba for joining. I'm waving back at you. And Sim_Deaf Consult. Yes. I hope you are Samuel 100 to be sure that we have the right person. So, I think you need to send a request, Mr. Samuel James Femi,
right? So that we can bring you live and you can join us. All right, so welcome. So I'm going to continue. Do you know that September 23rd annually is a day that is set aside and recognized as International Day of Sign Languages?
All right. Sorry, Eagle, can you please hold on? I think I'm not seeing clearly
Oh, okay.
or properly.
Okay. Can you see properly
And
now?
yeah, no, not me. I mean, seeing. And by
Oh,
the way,
okay.
Mr. Samuel is in the house, so it can be.
I
Hold
didn't
on.
get that, sorry.
Did you hear that?
No, I didn't get that. Come again.
Yeah, I said Mr. Samuel is in the house.
Mrs. Amber Lee, welcome. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
think he wants to join with SimStep Pro Foundation.
Yes.
Okay, so you can.
So let's add the Sims Dev Pro online. Okay, so we're trying to get things ready to be sure. So we're adding Sims Dev Pro on the live program. Okay, welcome, Mr. Samuel.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. So before we dive deep into the conversation, I just wanted to do like a flash, an intro to the conversation. So we kickstart right away. So September 23rd is recognized as International Day of Sign Languages because this day highlights the importance of sign languages in the lives of deaf individuals. The day is focused on promoting the linguistic differences and the cultural identity of the deaf community worldwide. It also helps to raise awareness on the challenges they face. It emphasizes the right to communicate in sign language and also the significance of preserving the sign language. It is also a means of a cultural heritage. Or are you wondering of what I'm saying? I'm going to be giving you about 3 cool facts that you need to know about sign language. Or you're wondering what exactly is sign language? You see that ant that you're seeing flipping on the screen by Mr. Observer? That is what sign language is about. And it is often used by deaf and hard of hearing individuals globally. Now, let me tell you, let me give you good gist. Do you know that there are over 300 sign languages globally? Because each also has its own unique differences. Just like some people speak English language, some people may speak Mandarin, some people may speak another language. That is how sign language is. So we have over 300 sign language. Another do you know fact is, did you know that American Sign Language is different from the British Sign Language and also from the Nigeria Sign Language? Interesting, cool fact, right? Okay, let me tell you another thing. Sign language, just like spoken language, your facial expression can totally change the meaning of a sign. Imagine me saying with a frowning face, my name is Oluwakemi. That means I am sad and I'm saying my name, right? But when I'm smiling to say, oh, my name is, this is my sign name, Oluwakemi. And I'm excited. That means I'm excited to meet you, right? So that is one thing about sign language. right? So those are cool facts about sign language. And so the discussion of today on the media awareness, or the tool as a tool of diversity and inclusion, we're going to be focusing on someone that is very interesting when it comes to national and international stage. Let me give you a brief about him. Samuel James Femi is a dynamic deaf empowerment strategist. It is also, he is actually dedicated to promote the deaf inclusion, performing arts, and deaf advocacy. Samuel James has a master's degree in performing arts and with experience as a professional sign language interpreter, an educator, an artist. Samuel is recognized nationally and internationally. He founded the Deaf Can Dance crew. This is the crew that gives opportunity to the deaf and hard of hearing individuals to come on stage and showcase their dance artistry. So, if your hands are not too busy, can you join me to welcome Samuel James Femi on our live episode of Eagles Perch? Hey! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, Mr. Samuel. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much, Kemi. I'm very good, thank you.
So, it's really nice to have you on today's program.
I'm so glad to.
Awesome. Okay, so for the purpose of accessibility in terms of appearance, I would be, telling you what I have on, or what you can see me on the screen. I have a gold dress, a transparent glasses, my hair is up to my shoulder, and I am chocolate. I like to say chocolate in complexion, and I'm seated right before you. So this is for the viewers who are visually impaired and are listening to what we are saying. So I'm going to be handing over the virtual mic to Mr. Samuel to tell us a description of what he has.
All right, thank you. I have a shirt on, a blue shirt, striped, a little bit striped, and I'm with no cuts. Then I have my watch and dark, creamy in complexion too.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, and welcome to today's episode talking about the sign language, International Awareness Day. But before then, I would like to, know, because I'm sure some people are wondering, why do you have this person on board now? Shebi is the one speaking. He can hear you. How come we have you on board? Can you tell us your journey into the deaf, culture, or why the interest in the deaf community?
All right, thank you very much. My journey started something 1996. Though before that, I have been interacting with a deaf friend. He's late now. God bless his soul. Ayobami, that's the name. And we do interact with just gestures, and we point to this, point to that. We try as much as possible to communicate without the formal sign language. However, over time, in the year 1996, around December area, I could remember, I just gained that interest that there is this language that you use with your peers, that's other deaf people, that you and I as friends, we don't use this same language. It's different, and it looks much more beautiful than the one we are doing, and I think it's much more in-depth. So that was how I communicate. I tried to communicate this to him, and the next thing he gave me was a book, a sign language book, and that was the beginning of my journey into the world of the deaf. Because before that day runs out, before the end of that day, I was able to grasp a lot of sign language. Just the interest was so much that I had to just study that book. And before the week ends, I know almost all the words in that small book. So that wasn't so satisfactory. I just wanted to know more.
Okay.
I do ask questions. I don't have deaf friends apart from him around. So I do go to his place and we interact more. We use the language more, and that was the first time I was able to access language, the sign language. Then I had to go to school where I had the opportunity to be exposed. FC Special, I had the opportunity to be exposed to a lot of deaf friends, a lot of deaf people, and that's for me was I was deep into an ocean of sign language, and I it just goes on from there. Here I am today, a professional sign language interpreter, a deaf empowerment strategist. I can also say disability arts experts. Samuel James before you.
Wow. Awesome. Welcome. They say if you do not blow your trumpet, who will do it? Okay, awesome. And this brings me to, a very dicey question where people feel that, oh, number one, minus this, there's this negative perception that people think that deaf persons are quick to anger. People think that deaf persons, they like, what do you call this? Gossip, aka right, in Yoruba language. And I just want to ask, for the journey of 29 years and still counting, in your experience, what are some common misconceptions about the deaf community that you have encountered, and how do you address this in your teaching?
I've encountered a lot. Sometimes when I'm around my deaf friends, people do they think I'm also deaf, which I am. I'm not, unfortunately, I should say. And they spill the bean. They talk more than they are expected to, thinking that we all cannot hear what they are saying. So I'm privileged to be able to hear so much. They see them as generally as people, like you rightly said, they see them as people that are angry easily. They say they talk too much. I was at a program I was interpreting, and the deaf people were just there at a particular space, in their own space, talking about a different topic entirely. The hearing people now asked me that, why are they gossiping about us? I laughed and said, wow, this is strange, because the deaf people usually say that whenever the hearing are together, you are the ones gossiping about them. And now the table is turning. It's really strange. It's just that it really shows that it's nothing about the attitude, in a sense. They are just being as human as every other person. So the hearing will suspect that the deaf is talking about them just because they cannot hear what is being spoken, in the sense of using sign language. They cannot understand the sign language. And then the deaf, not being able to hear what the hearing is saying, will suspect that, these people are talking about me. Maybe if they giggle a little bit and look at their space or look at them, it becomes an issue. So it's not, most of these misconceptions are just, it's their misconception, as the word is. They are just there. It doesn't have anything to do with their disability, doesn't have anything to do with their deafness. I've been with a deaf person that does not get angry easily. They don't, and I've been with those that get angry easily. The same with the hearing counterpart too. Different attitude, different behaviors, characters. So we are just all humans, being human, and there's nothing really about that. Just the misconception, as the word is.
Awesome. That's a very, very enlightening one. So you need to know that because this person is signing doesn't necessarily mean that the person is speaking about you.
No.
Have you also thought about it that this person cannot hear you and yet you're speaking? Don't you think the deaf person also deserves the right to think that you're also gossiping about the person? So we all need to, take everyone as equal, and that is what we preach on Eagle's Perch, because we take it from the lens of diversity, inclusion, adventure, and also lifestyle. And this brings me to the next question. Please, in case you have any question, you can drop it in the chat box. We see you joining us. Abel Worship, Viexio, Lawal. Thank you, everyone who has joined. In case I'm unable to call you, Ayomide Special, thank you for joining us. Please drop your question in the chat box, and we will definitely do justice to that. So now to my next question. What strategies do you, are you a teacher? Have you taught, as in a teacher that teaches a deaf person or deaf persons?
Yes.
Okay, so in that aspect,
for a few years.
Okay, so in that profession and expertise, what strategies do you use to create an inclusive classroom environment for students with diverse needs within the deaf community? What I'm trying to say is that you would agree with me that the hearing, so for people who are just listening to us and wondering some terminologies that we are using, when we say hearing persons, we mean persons who are not deaf, who can speak, who can hear, right? So when we say deaf or hard of hearing persons, we mean persons who cannot hear or who can hear a bit. So now, in a category of within the deaf community, you would agree with me that everyone has their unique, specialty, that diverse way of understanding and all that. So as you, as a teacher, what strategies have you used or are you still using to create an inclusive, classroom environment for students with diverse needs within the deaf community?
Thank you very much. First, we need to recognize that the deaf people are unique in the sense that they are visual learners, as opposed to those who learn through the hear, that's audio learners and all. They are visual learners, and hence you have to your teaching has to be more inclined towards the visual, their visual learning space. For instance, of course, you use sign language depending on their grade. Anyways, use sign language and use more of visual teaching materials. Then, to start with a deaf person, you go from usually the regular person, you teach from unknown to known. But for a deaf person, the reverse is the case, and you triple it in a sense. From the known, what they see, to the unknown, then you go back to the known. It's like going from they have the things around them, what they've seen over time. They have seen it. This is a cup, how it is used to drink water and all that. You bring that visually to them and let them know that this is how it is. Then you explain to them other usage of this particular cup. There are different techniques too that you can use. You can integrate a space whereby they sit in a U shape, where all the sign language is visible to everyone in the class. Sign language has to be in front of the person. You can't be at the back and of the person and use sign language. You have to be in front of the person. So you have to create that space in the classroom where it's like a U shape for everyone who stands in the middle is seen the same time, and that helps. That helps a lot. Of course, you have to ensure there's good lighting in the classroom. The most important aspect of this is just to know that they being a visual learner, you have to tailor all your classes to make it a visible experience. A visible experience in terms of you have to let them see, hear the sound as it's been. They see a sound in a sense. I'm trying to. You have to let them see the sound. They cannot hear the sound, but they can see it. So you have to make everything that you're explaining, all your explanation, everything to be something that is visible, something they can quickly see. Then the other aspects that you put into this to make them get it, you have to repeat a lot too, because of course there's a general thing that they tend to not the communication tend to be a major issue. So you have to be able to repeat and clarify some things for them to understand you properly. These and other techniques are what we use as a sign language teacher, as a deaf teacher in a classroom where we have deaf people.
Wow, awesome. So this takes me to the next set of questions, because, you know, recall when we were introducing Samuel James Femi, talking about, you know, his professional and personal experience as a deaf curator, dance, you know, person, yeah, through the mastery of, you know, having knowledge in theater art or performing arts, as it may be. And I guess that my guess or my inquiry will be, as many other persons, deaf can dance. How come? How do they hear the music? Why should they dance? And I'm wondering, if deaf can dance, why you, as a person with no hearing impairment, decided to create this culture, you know, deaf can dance?
Thank you very much. Let me just start with this. Why not? Why shouldn't they dance? If everyone can dance, they can. Dance is an innate ability. It's not something that is that they are born without. It's with them. It's an innate ability. It's something that they, when they are given birth to, they already know how to dance. However, the general perspective, the general idea is that you should be able to hear a music to dance, which is not a fact in a sense. You don't need to hear music or have a sound going there for you to dance. Rhythm also is innate, so everyone has that rhythm. However, of course, we have some, we call them, they are tone deaf in the sense that they can't access rhythm. They can't keep to time with the rhythm as every other person. And deafness, of course, have a part to play in this. So the way, first for me, I've always been with the deaf people, like I explained with my story coming up. I just want to see them. I want to see them become something. And it all started in a church some years around 1998 or so, thereabouts. I started. So I just wanted them to be included. I want inclusion in the church space. We have ushers, we have choirs, and the deaf. I just thought, what can they do? How can they contribute to the congregation, my local church? How can they contribute to this? So with my knowledge of performing arts, I brought them together. I started teaching drama, I started teaching dance, movements, and all that, mime, pantomime. And we started with this. The turning point was when we had a presentation, administration as they call it. We had a presentation, and after that presentation, the pastor who is in charge at this time was moved to tears. That was a turning point for me. I just felt, wow, this is something we can keep doing and getting better at. And ever since that 1998, I've written several skits, I've directed, and I've choreographed several dances. And this is what they can do if they are aided visually. Of course, my style is not that of that not the one that they will do without music. I want the hearing, sitting down. I want them to also enjoy as they enjoy the music, they enjoy the movements. So my style, the style I chose, needs the deaf who cannot hear the music to move in time, move rhythmically to the music. Hence, I got the idea of using visual cues to time them. Not as most of us can hear this. This my clap. It's in rhythm. There's a timing to it. How do they get this timing? They see. Of course, they hear with their eyes. So why not we use that hearing? We modify it for them to see the rhythm. So as they are able to see that rhythm, they're able to dance to it because, of course, dance is in them. So they're able to see the rhythm as we move it and get used to the song. We also have a way we make them get used to the song with several rehearsals. Holding the speaker, hugging the speaker, the vibration of this sound gets into them. So over time, they become used to the rhythm. That you only need just one cue, bam. The next thing they move, they flow with the music, and everything just looks so amazing. Of course, it looks surprising that wow, how are they able to move to time when they hit every beat accordingly? It's the process. The process is in the process. It takes a lot of time. However, when they get it, they are getting it. When they get it, they are there, and then everyone enjoys it. The hearing enjoys it, the deaf enjoys it, and we all good. And we can see the ability to dance to rhythm by someone that supposedly cannot have that access to rhythm. That's the key of sound. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you very much. And I believe this is a new one for a lot of us, including me, because some have been wondering, how do deaf people dance? How do hard of hearing persons dance? And you know, that's a lot of lecture and a good one at that. Thank you for the good work you are doing. And this
Thank
brings me to the next question. How do you assess the progress of this, deaf culture dancing? How do you assess the progress of the deaf persons in both the language and the artistic expression, like especially in the dance? Now, for instance, when you're speaking to a deaf person with sign language, and also when they are dancing, and you definitely still be speaking with them with sign language, or those clues, visual clues that you were talking about, right? How do you assess them? What do you think, in the in the dance space, how do you think their performance is? And also in the linguistic part, that's maybe speaking with sign. How can you compare it?
Okay, let me just talk about speaking with sign first.
Mm.
In your introduction, you mentioned about sign language being a unique language. It's the spoken, the verbal language is not superior to sign language. It's according to UNCRPD, it's a language on its own. It is unique and it's their own language. There's no superiority in that in terms. If I'm getting what you're saying, but how we assess it, of course, we see the language. If the way I'm speaking now, I am going to school. In sign language, there is a codification in a sense that says I am going to school. It may not ring directly as I am going to school. It may, when directly translated, it may read me go school, but the meaning is known. The meaning is known. So there's a codification, and you're able to get understanding of every word with those codification.
But
Like
before
what
you
my
go
brother is.
further, sorry,
Yes,
let me
please.
let me pause you that in that aspect, I've heard a lot. Some people say that, talking about that codification, some people say that a lot of deaf persons do not know how to speak English. Now, when you say I am going to school, I was even thinking you were going to say I go to school, right? So when you now say me go to school, and you now call a deaf person to present, and the person is being placed with a sign language interpreter that he or she never knows, don't you think the person, especially if it's someone that wants to be speaking directly what the person is saying, don't you think they are going to also be interpreting me go to school? Is it not going to affect what they are presenting?
That won't be right on the part of the sign language interpreter to interpret me go to school, because you are interpreting to words, and sign language is not the same thing as words. So if the person signs me go to school, it's ideal for the sign language interpreter to sign I am going to school, because that is actually what the person is saying, but using sign language. And the idea that deaf people do not understand English, I don't think it's supposed to be anyways. Firstly, yes, sign language and English language, they are two different languages.
Okay.
However, just like you and I, if I start speaking broken, I won't write in broken English, except I choose to just write in broken English. I can choose to write in clear grammatical English, and also choose to say, okay, I just want to write in broken English. So there's that choice of using sign language to communicate in English, and using English directly to communicate. So it does not mean that the deaf person cannot speak correct English. We have a lot of them who are lawyers. We have a lot of them who are doctors, who speak very well, who do very well. Some of them I even know grammar more than you, because I think they are much more focused than us. Like I have a lot of them that when they start their grammar, I have to get my my dictionary to get what's being said. So it's like that. Also, we have, of course, we have illiterate. Sorry, pardon my word. Use of word like illiterate and hearing person, someone who can speak, who can hear, who cannot, of course, write in English. We have them too in the hearing world, in the deaf world rather. Like I said earlier, it's nothing about the disability. It's all about just being human. Now, for we should also understand, we shouldn't just put this aside that, of course, a hearing person that is growing up, you have access different models that you imitate. For language, different mediums to access information through your ear. You might be in a bus and someone is speaking somewhere else. It does not concern you, neither is it your own word, but you just hear it, just perceive that sound, and you know that word. Okay, this is what this word is. This is what this word means. Oh, you get that information. You get that knowledge. Bam, like just like that. But for the deaf person, you have to be seated in a class. You have to be taught that this and this and this is the way you should go with this language, or you have to pick up a book and read and get the meaning to process the language properly. But for the hearing person, you can by just hearing, you access the language. The deaf people are not as populated and dense in a sense as the hearing persons. So the way you access language as hearing person might not be as easy for that deaf person to access same. You have to be conscious. You have to be deliberate to learn English language when you want to learn it as a deaf person, because the language you are using day in, day out is not English language. Hence, you have to now say, I want to learn English language, and you learn English language. But the hearing person do not need to say, I want to learn English language. As far as he's able to hear it, a lot of time you use the word like that as you heard it, and everything flows very well. So the deaf has an extra work to do to be able to do well when it comes to English. I think that's just about it.
Awesome, thank you very much. Yes, you did well by explaining to us, because just to give a summary of what he said is that as much as you are speaking English, you can speak as a person who can hear and can speak, does not neglect someone who is deaf or hard of hearing that they cannot also speak. Just like, for instance, remember when we were in secondary schools, that business studies that they would teach us shorthand. When we are writing, we write instead of THE, we write D letter, alphabet D. We now put one stroke underneath it, just not to write those 3 letters, right? So
Yes.
that's how the deaf culture is. So it's like abbreviation, so that they can get to hear, understand, and also, get to interpret and understand what we are saying. Because imagine someone who is okay.
Sorry. When I said codification, the way I said it, it does not mean literally that sign language is abbreviation. It is not. Say, what Mr. Bayo is doing presently, he might sign me go to school, but there are movements of you said it earlier, the expression, the facial expression, the body move, the way you tilt your body to a side, it tells more story than just that word. So it's the use of it's not codification. It does not mean it's abbreviation. It's a complete language. It's just that the syntax, the grammatical laws and all that English language follows, it does not follow that way. That is just the difference. It does not. It's a full language. You understand everything A to Z. What a person is speaking. If you have of course, a knowledgeable sign language interpreter, you will be able to get everything, details, everything. So you understand me, man. So I don't want to see it as a codification, a summary of what is spoken. That makes it a little bit inferior to the spoken language. It is not.
Okay, so that means, correct me if I'm wrong, sign language is a combination of gestures, visuals, and signs. Am I correct?
Yes. Movements too. So there are several elements it has.
Awesome. Great. So we've actually learned so many things, and something is just going on my head, and I'm thinking, some persons might be thinking, okay, if sign language has to do with movement, that means you have to see that movement. What about if sign language has to do with visuals? That means you have to see. So are we saying that when there is no light, before you mentioned that, there has to be the lightning, the visuals, and all. So I'm wondering, for someone who cannot see and probably is, can hear but not properly, right? Something, or a culture that calls deaf-blind culture, right? Can they also learn sign language? If yes, is it the same sign language that Mr. Observer is doing right now that they also use?
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so if a deaf person is in a dark place, the deaf person cannot see the language, which is basically it depends on light. It depends on light to assess the language. However, for us to assess that language, we have to get close. We have to switch to tactile, touching.
Okay.
Yes, it is. Of course, it's not the same thing. In a sense, it's similar. It's very close. It's very, very close. If I have a deaf-blind person, I can still communicate with a deaf-blind person that understands sign language. So a deaf-blind person that understands sign language, I can communicate with that person. Mr. Bayo can communicate with that person very well. We are using the same sign language. However, now it is being switched to tactile, and there are some other additions. For instance, if a deaf-blind person is in a room and there is laughter or cheering, the deaf-blind person cannot hear that cheering. If it's being clapped for, he cannot perceive it. So there's a tap to the body. There's a particular part of the body you touch several times that cheers them. Oh, they are cheering for you. Oh, they are laughing presently. They are doing this. So with those additions and the proper sign language and the touch, tactile sign language, there are another technical way you do that too. It's not just pour the sign language like that. No, there are technical ways you handle the hands, the fingers to be able to touch properly and have access to all the fingers. And of course, the facial expression won't be involved in this. So there are other ways the tactile sign language express facial expressions. Like I give an example of cheering, laughter, positions of people in the room. All these are done on the body. So we switch to tactile when it comes to darkness, when we cannot see each other. So sign language proper is visual language.
This brings me to, this word that says there is hope for the living, right? In case you're just joining us, it is Eagle's Perch, where we get to invite experts. We get to talk about diverse issues from the stage of adventure, from the stage of lifestyle, from the stage of diversity in order, things that ordinarily people do not talk about. We inspiring, talk about it here on the show. I know that Mr. Observer will be like, okay. All right. So as we have today our guest, Mr. Samuel James Femi, who has over 29 years worth of experience in sign language, a professional at that. And we've been talking about the sign language, which I first talked about over 300 sign languages all over the world. And it's really amazing. And this brings me to the next question. But before then, if you have any comment, you have any question, please drop it in the question box and we will do that in the next 10 minutes. Okay, so this brings me to the next question. Nigerian Sign Language. In fact, I'm even jealous, right? You can see my expression. I'm jealous because the kind of awareness deaf people, when it comes to sign language, are gathering in Nigeria. It's not a shere something. And I'm like, how many people are talking about Braille in Nigeria? The way Nigerian Sign Language is always, you must sign the law, you must Nigerian Sign Language this and that. And I'm like, wow, it's really very interesting for me. And I really must say very big kudos to you all who are behind this, screen to ensure that Nigerian Sign Language becomes a legal, language in Nigeria. And I'm wondering, what is the stage right now when it comes to Nigerian Sign Language, Mr. Samuel?
What is the stage, you say?
Yes. Where are we? Has it been signed?
Well, as it stands, we are not. It has not been. No, it's. Yes, we are in a good place presently. Oh, for a while now, we've not been able to have an Nigerian Sign Language. Even some people still say they use ASL, that's American Sign Language. But what we've been using is Nigerian Sign Language, and it's nothing. It's close to ASL, which is American Sign Language, but it's nothing as American Sign Language. It's quite different. We have a lot of words that the usage is different. There are words that you can't find.
Give us an example. Can you give us an example how it's different?
For instance, you can't find amala over there. You find amala here. So,
but you can spell it now.
When you spell it, it removes the meaning. There's a way we make amala here, which it's culture, not just. You don't just throw it at us like that. So there are several other things too. The way we sign here too, we are more of we use more of sign exact English. That they use more of sign exact English. It's more direct English, more of just translate it directly. That's few people still do that. But over there, it's an entirely different thing. The syntax is very, very different. So I just give that example. There are some other elements that are involved too.
Okay.
We are talking about Nigerian Sign Language because sign language is a thing of rights. It's not something. Let's just let them have it. No, they should have it. It's a must. They have it. It's a life or death. It's what they have. It's the nature. It's what they are supposed to. They're supposed to have. So if we can all speak English, we can all speak Yoruba without issue, and we have in the television, we have people speaking Yoruba in the TV, we have people speaking Igbo and all that. Why do we put these people aside and you refuse to approve the sign language, which is not supposed to be? We should. This is our language. It's a language that a lot of people use. The deaf population is very high. It's very high in Nigeria. We don't have a particular one, but if you really look at it, taking into cognizance 70 over 70 million people worldwide is deaf. Now let's take Nigeria with over 200 million population. So,
Population, yeah.
and we keep having deaf people every day. So they have to be considered. They have to be thought of as having their language. And where we are presently is not a suitable place. It's not a good place because we are supposed to have gone past this level. Presently, we do not have a body that certifies sign language interpreter. Presently, we do not. We can't say that every. It's just we are just trying to implement. We are just pushing for it. The noise is not even enough because as a sign language interpreter, I'll go to places. It's not even close because I'll go to places. I will still be. They will still ask me, "What are you here to do?" And I tell them I'm a sign language interpreter.
Yeah, to play.
So what's that one? I'll have to be explaining myself. I'll have to bring out my CV. Okay, be showing you this and this and this. No, it's not supposed to be. Immediately I tell you I'm a sign language interpreter, everyone should know. We have to preach and preach. We have to talk and talk. We have to explain every time we are supposed to interpret. People will say, why are you getting, they sometimes they even chase us off the stage. And the deaf won't have access to this, access to the information. So it's a stage that is not okay. We are not there yet. We are not even close. There's no no certifying, no agency that caters for it. It's nothing. We are just all pushing, talking here and there. The deaf people saying this, they want this. It's not supposed to be. They should already have this language, and that's the sorry stage we have present.
Oof, that's a great one. At least thank you for that information, because when I see it, maybe because I'm close to the disability community, so I'm a person with disability myself, I understand, when there are some, buzzy stuff there. So maybe definitely those that are not in that space might not understand, which you're actually correct about. And I'm using this medium to say, please, 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 Ministry of Education, right? Please, we should have, there was one time I was saying, what stops us from having in the curriculum, a course that talks about sign language, Braille, that's maybe hearing impaired or visually impaired, not just us having a old tertiary institution like Oyo SPED that basically talks about, you specializing in different sector. Why not we have it in the education curriculum starting from secondary? Let's even say, okay, worst case now, maybe primary is too okay, but let's start from secondary, where we are saying choose either agriculture or intro tech. Why not say, okay, choose either Braille or hearing impairment, which would also help us, when we in the secondary school level begin to understand this language. When we get to university, we will not see the person and be like, what's this person doing? Does the person want to blow me or something? No. So I feel that the Ministry of Education, and this is a clarion call to the Nigerian Education and Research Development Center, NERDC, right, to please, 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 let's take this, let's make this a standing law, because I tell people, I am blind today. You never can tell where you will find yourself tomorrow. You never can tell the child you will give birth to. Will you now start crying? And you say the amazing thing about all this is that all these are rich people, wherever you are listening to me from. You people now fly all your children abroad and leave us here in Nigeria. But Yoruba will say, it is in the house that the bush would remain. No matter how hard it is, what will you say that you've done?
Please hold on.
Ilela was Yoko.
Mr. Observer, are you with us?
Yes, please go ahead.
So, what will you say that you've done to your own country, right, or your own home? In fact, let me give a very big shout out at this stage, right, to Adekunle Gold, whoever knows him, you can like to tag him, it's fine. He's just doing, a give back to his own immediate community, the sickle cell, community, because he's one. He identifies as one, and he wants to make them, go back to school, education, and I'm really giving a thumbs up. So why not? It's not just enough to have, one governor you know, the then governor is in Nasarawa State being a deaf or hard of hearing person. No, out of 36 states, Habba, you don't even reach 1%. What's happened? So please, 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 let's do this. You don't necessarily need to be a person with disability before you can fight for the inclusion and rights of persons with disabilities. You can use your current situation because you don't know what is coming, you know, to you in the nearest future.
Yes.
So this brings me to my next question. We have been talking about sign language, 300 sign languages. Now, talking about sign language interpreters. In fact,
Yes.
the truth be said, I've come across some awful, I'm sorry to say, interpreters, right? It might not be their fault. And I'm wondering, can you tell us 5 qualities, just, you know, put it down to 5. 5 qualities of a good sign language interpreter.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start with confidentiality. So the sign language interpreter should have that. No matter what you say in a particular, what is being said in a particular space, and you are there as a sign language interpreter. As a sign language interpreter, you should not spill the beans. You should not say these things outside. It's meant for that space alone.
Okay.
So that's one. We also have that of a sign language interpreter. Of course, you must be accurate. Your accuracy and fluency must be there. You have to know the language, and you have to be able to hear the language very well too. So you don't need to be skipping words and all that. I do say that a good English major would be a good sign language interpreter because you'll be able to hear very well. Hence, you should be able to speak, that's in this sense, sign language. Then, of course, professional demeanor. You should have this appearance of a professional. You don't dress shabbily. You don't dress anyhow to events. You represent very well. So you have
Shout
to
out
get
to Mr. Observer on that. You see,
yes,
if
always on
Observer
time.
is
Always
going
on time
for,
and suit. He's
it's
always
not
on
even
time.
as in Mr. Observer goes suit. He will not wear this thing.
He's not.
Well
He's
done,
always on
yeah.
point. One of those interpreters I really, really respect in that area, really. So
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I want to mention then knowledge of sign language.
Yeah.
That's know your language. Know your language very well. You don't just we have something that is really trending in a sense, which is not supposed to be in the sign language arena. Your knowledge of sign language does not mean that you are a sign language interpreter. No, there are two different things. A sign language interpreter is a higher level of knowledge, a far higher level of knowledge in sign language as a language, and also the culture of the deaf. So it's not just about the sign language. You should know the culture, so you know how to present things properly, the way it should be. You will be your fluency will be there if you know your language well. So you don't just know ABC today, know some words, and you stand there, you want to interpret. No, you're not interpreting, you are signing actually. So we should have that. Then, of course, timeliness. You don't call you to a place and you are.
Hello. I think his network
The
is bad.
loudspeaker, I think there was a break.
Okay. Yeah.
I think there was
We
a
can hear you
break
now.
there. So the loudspeaker should be there before the speaker comes. In this sense, that the speaker in terms of the mic will be there before someone comes to speak. So as a sign language interpreter, the communication. So you have to be there. You have to be on time. So those are just some of the things some of the 5, like you said, I should mention.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. That's actually nice. Thank you very much. And I believe with this, understanding, we've been able to know more about, sign language. It's not just about you flipping your hand, changing your face, you feel you're signing. No, it's about the professionalism, like he said. It's about the confidentiality. It's about the accuracy. It's about the timeliness and professionalism. Yes, I really must give kudos to all the sign language interpreters all over the world, right? And they are really doing a great job. There are some people that someone has actually been begging, teach me sign language. They just know all about the money, but God is there. But anyways, let's move on. So let's move on. So this brings me to the next question, which is very important, because if I do not ask this question, it will pain me. And this I've been discussing with Mr. Observer for quite a while. I intend, maybe I should just make it public, I intend to have a training. Yeah, it might not be too much, I might not be financially buoyant, but at least have a training, or let's talk, sign language interpreters. I noticed something, right, which is about the manner and mode of interpreting. I give you an example, a scenario. A deaf person is in a room and there is a sign language interpreter there. I'm there and I'm speaking to the deaf person. The deaf person is signing back to the interpreter. That means the person is saying something to the interpreter. The interpreter would prefer to wait. At least some interpreter, right, would prefer to wait and let the person talk finish. They will now paraphrase. That thing pains me. Now, this is the reason. Because I feel that if I'm speaking to the deaf person and the person is talking back, you as an interpreter, you should also speak at that same rate. Do not wait for the person to finish talking before you now begin to paraphrase. At that point, sincerely, as a human, as a person, I might not trust your judgment. I might feel that you've lost or you've added one or two things. And I'm imagining if this kind of attitude is also displayed. Imagine a deaf person wants to collect visa or is in embassy, and the person is also in that kind of situation. Do you think that, the international body will want to trust the judgment of the interpreter because they might feel that the person has paraphrased? Do you think this is ethical, or is just my own thinking?
Okay, thank you very much. Ideally, what you're talking about is receptive sign language.
Okay.
That's this. It takes a very professional, a highly trained and knowledgeable sign language interpreter to be able to move very smoothly with that space you're talking about. Also, it takes the knowledge of this person's sign language. And it means that this sign language interpreter, is very familiar with the deaf person's sign language. Not the way we talk as humans is the same way they talk with sign language. Now, some sign language, some people, you speak very fast. Something happened just now, not too long ago, where you were speaking and you were very passionate, and Mr. Bayo said you should hold on a little bit so he can come. Mr. Bayo is a very professional sign language interpreter, no doubt. He's very good at what he's doing. However, here comes a time where, because the hands cannot be as fast as the mouth.
Yeah, true.
There will come a time where he has to pause to be able to assess what's being spoken. And sometimes it's not about being untruthful. Really, it's not about being untruthful with the sign language. Sometimes it's just he wants to know really what this person is saying to be able to say it properly. And he's not supposed to paraphrase anyways. He's supposed to say everything. And what we should also understand is that he's interpreting. He's not translating. Interpretation is it's a little bit dicey. It's a little bit you are saying what this person's the intention of this person. You are saying it. Okay. When I started, we were talking about the deaf English, me go to school, me go school, and all that. The deaf person did not say, I went to school yesterday. No, the deaf person said categorically, he said, me go school. Now, it's now left to a professional sign language interpreter to say it the it's supposed to be in spoken English, because the person listening can hear the spoken English. So you don't need to bring that sign language to the person again. Of course, the deaf is speaking sign language. It's my job as a sign language interpreter to speak English to you. I'm supposed to be the middleman, the one that bridges both gaps, and the gap of the spoken language, the gap of sign language. So it's not always like that in terms. Of course, we have some not so good sign language interpreters who just paraphrase because they don't understand. It's not professional. If you do not understand, you can ask that deaf person to rephrase or repeat and just get the right thing over to the. So it's not ethical for you to just paraphrase the whole word together and do. Just give that. What it means is that no, this person spoke for about an hour and you missed everything to like 20 minutes. How is that? So it's at least if you are going to even interpret, if it's about 50 minutes, it's also even more than that sometimes. And in any case, if you really are explaining, because it takes more time to explain and interpret what's being said. So sometimes you want to just know everything, assess the whole language, everything, and say it. And sometimes you, for visa interviews, like you mentioned, of course, you have to get used to that person you want to go and interpret for in the embassy. So it won't be waiting for the person finish talking, then you talk to the consular. No, the person is speaking, you speak. So it requires getting used to in some areas. It requires also ability to actually do it, because that's the most difficult aspect of sign language interpreting, receptive sign language. It's not everyone that can. Most interpreters will just run away from it. It's very, very, very tasking.
Okay,
So
thank you very much.
Yes.
I've been able to understand, and hey, with my several meeting with several maybe deaf persons, both locally, globally, and I begin to see that they are, there was this shout out to Ambrose. Ambrose is from, I think, Uganda, and he has a sign language interpreter whom we had an encounter with. I can't remember, I think Gideon or George, I can't remember his name now. But when I'm telling you that, like you said, if you are not really in touch with that person, you might not be able to understand the person's sign, right? So it might take you a while. Maybe, shout out to Godfrey. Maybe that's why Godfrey is able to understand Ambrose's sign. If Ambrose is speaking, so when I mean speaking, is signing, Godfrey does not begin ahead. That's another thing too as well, which I've noticed. In fact, this one, even if I am wrong in the first perception, this one is not a wrong something. I noticed that several sign language interpreters do not. I want to believe that you should speak as if it's the deaf person that is speaking, so that the society will not think that sorry, the people cannot speak, independently. So if Mr. Observer is signing, if I am signing, my name is Oluwakemi, which is my sign name, and Mr. Observer wants to speak, he doesn't now begin to say, she said her name is. No, to me it's irritating, because this brings a gap in, it caused a gap in, employment, caused a gap in the society, and people begin to think that they do not have, a thought of their own. But when you begin to speak, if I say, my name is Oluwakemi, I sign it. You as a sign language interpreter do not now begin to say, her name is. Rather, you say, my name is. So it creates an inclusive atmosphere. People would know that, this person is. That's how I feel. Maybe I'm just talking from the perspective of it's how it pinches me, right? I want all sign language interpreters, please, right? Speak. If a deaf person is signing, what's there in you speaking just what the person is saying? The person is explaining his or her thoughts. Don't begin to say, she said, he said, when he was in. Speak like it is that deaf person that is speaking. So please, I don't know. I mean, this is not part of your ethics name, Mr. Samuel.
Yes, please.
So is this what I said now? Do you think it is right or wrong?
No, it's ethically what you are supposed to do is as the person you should be speaking as a sign language you should speak as if the person is the person is you
Exactly.
should speak as if it's the person that is speaking. It's not you
Yeah.
said this. No, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
If the person
So,
said I'm going to school, he said I'm going to school. That's wrong. That's not the
yeah.
right thing. That's the way we do it anyways. Yes, some might be doing that. That's not the right way to do it. If he
Okay.
says I'm going to school, I'm going to school. Looking at him, and also the speaker should be facing the deaf person. The interpreter is
Good.
just an intermediary and it's not supposed to be the focus of the
Mm.
whole conversation. So it's not
Yes.
supposed to be.
Yes.
It's supposed to be I'm going to school. As
Yeah.
said, it's not.
Yeah.
He said I am going to school. He said he will not. No, no, no. That's not our job.
So I think I wish we can continue this conversation, but we do not have much time. But I believe that when we call on Mr. Samuel, right, the founder of Deaf Can Dance Crew, we will definitely, I mean, you will definitely, oblige us because there is a lot for us to discuss. I must tell you, we do not have much time. So I hope that when we call on you next time, you would oblige us this opportunity.
I'll be there any day, anytime. Ego, I'll
Thank
be
you.
there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And to all, as I see those that are also commenting the qualities in the comment box, thank you very, very much. We really say a very big thank you to you who have been sticking with us for over 1 hour now. Sammy on the score banks, thank you very much. And to those that I might not be able to, call their name, right? Next week, Tuesday, that's the 23rd of September 2024, marks the, awareness for Sign Languages Day. So please go out there, but before we go, right, I would also like to ask Mr. Samuel, as a professional sign language, what do you have for us this week that is coming to celebrate the Sign Language Awareness Week or Day? Is there anything in store?
Well, we are preparing for a program presently. It's not now. There are several
Okay.
programs coming up. Of course, Association of Sign Language, Association of Educational Sign Language Interpreters, ESLIAN. There will be a video that will be posted. We have the deaf are celebrating it too in their own way. Personally, as Sims Consult, Sims Deaf Pro Foundation, we have a dance coming out that will be posted to celebrate not just the sign language, but the deaf community generally. So these are those things that are happening presently to celebrate the International Week of Sign Language, the International Day of Sign Language. It's a day that we recognize generally sign language, a unique language of the deaf people and all those who use.
Wow. Wow. Thank you very much. And I believe that you can also catch Mr. Samuel on his social media handles. Can you give us your social media handle or any form of communication people can get to meet you?
So, Sims underscore deaf underscore pro underscore foundation is for then we have deaf underscore can dance underscore crew also for the social media. Then Facebook, just say Samuel James F. You will find me there. I have followers and I have people that follow me. I do post videos and of course my number, it's open any day, anytime. It's 08065234755. That's my direct line. It's also my WhatsApp line. That's about that. And of course, you can reach us on Also, you can check us out on www.simsdeafprofoundation.org.ng. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's really been a nice time with you to celebrate the Sign Language Awareness Week. And I must say, please, wherever you are, do not think that all hope is lost, but rather now is the time to rekindle the fire to, give back to the community, celebrate the deaf culture, celebrates the disability community, and I tell you that you are doing yourself good than harm. And at this juncture, I say a very big thank you to all the crew, people who have been behind the scene, Oba Posh, to Mr. Observer, who has been behind the, signing. Yes, he has been our sign language interpreter
Yes.
for today, although he's standing in for someone. If it's me that say, Observer, come and do this. Anyways, we'll take that insight. I
That
say
is a
very
very,
big
very
thank you to
expensive
all.
sign language interpreter.
Very expensive. I say a very big thank you to all other sign language interpreters who has really been dedicated. Hey, shout out to you, Sign with Joy, right? Madam Dorcas Bilesomi, I really doff my hat for you. Thank you very much. And also to Demilade as well. Thank you very much. To everybody, I really care. I say well done. I see you. I caught eye for you. Well done. Thank you to a lot of persons. I can't start naming right now, but I tell you, go out there this week. Let's celebrate the deaf culture. If it's just 1 minute, you can, say something about deaf culture. Please do that and let's all be one. Till next time, 4 p.m. is the time. The platform is Instagram Live. We get to talk more and more about this. You can always put your comments, share, like, and comment, and we'll do justice to get back to you. Till then, I remain your royal flyness, Queen of the Eagles, and I'm going to the abode. Bye. Thank you. Thank you.